Hi, it's Robert Mitchell, and I'm here at the Toronto International Film Festival. Hi. Good, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Welcome to Midnight Madness.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Good evening. Okay, air horns down. Air horns down. Turn that off. Only an open night. All right, let's get these balloons out of the way here. Pop them now. Let's just. All right. That's one.
My head.
All right. Yeah, we'll take care of this later. Don't worry. We got the cover. All right. Welcome to Midnight Madness 2016. So we've had action films, top-heavy action films, lots of violence going on there. Then we got creepy and scary with Blair Witch. Ooh. And yes, people pass out at movies. It just freaking happens. Oh man. I swear to God, this happened. I'm seeing this frenzy everywhere, like on the news. Oh, people passed out at screening of Raw in Toronto. This happens every freaking year. No one was talking about that when it happened at Hostel. At Hostel, it happened at the Varsity, and that poor fellow fell down the escalator when he passed out. Where was the news cameras then? If you remember the other French film, The Incident, yeah, we even had someone pass out at Oculus during the light bulb sequence. Half the time, it's not necessarily what you see on the screen, and it's not because it's gory or grisly. I mean, with Raw, that was because everyone was invested in those characters. But also, I'll tell you, it's also festival fatigue. Drink your water, people. Come on! Alright! Of course, last night, that whole audience checked under their bed before they went to bed and went to sleep for rats. And now, it's time for zombies. But not just any zombie. Smart, precocious little zombies. It was really great because I happened to read this book that this is based on, The Girl with All the Gifts, and it's incredible. I urge you to go in and read it because it's a real fresh twist on a genre which is suffering rigor mortis currently. I mean, heck, it's on TV, people. And I was really excited when I found out they were making it into a movie, and of course, nervous at the same time, but they pulled off an amazing adaptation. I'd like to introduce to you the director of The Girl with All the Gifts, Colm McCarthy. Hello. Let's keep this on stage. The great thing is this director, he's bringing us a film. We heard you guys, you guys wanted it, and we made it happen. Yes, we have Glenn Close on the screen tonight. But you've got some other friends you'd like to bring on stage.
We do. So I have with me the I have with me the writer of the film and the book, Mike Carey. I have the producers, Patty Tan and Angus Lamont. And we have one of our stars, Gemma Arterton. And Gemma's going to do a song for everyone tonight.
A zombie-themed song. I know, I'm staying with that.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that. So, who's going to pass out? Someone's going to pass out tonight? Is that... Good. Okay, good. Solid.
And thank you so much for coming, because it sounded like we weren't going to get you, and you've come all the way from Serbia.
Anything to get out of Serbia.
All right, and we'll be back at the end for Q&A to talk about it.
Love to, if people are still here, that would be great, yeah. Awesome.
All right, put your hands together. Ooh, little nippers. Little nippers. Smart nippers, the future of the world. What an incredible science fiction zombie film. Colm McCarthy, where are you? Come on out.
Thank you very much.
The director of The Girl with All the Gifts. And your creative team, I believe, are with you too here?
That's right, I think Mike and Cammy and Angus are all going to come out too. Yes. Mike here, Wells here, Cammy and Angus producer.
So, can we talk a little bit about the origin of this? Now, which came first, the script or the book?
In fact, it was a short story for an anthology called An Apple for the Creature, which was supernatural and horror stories themed around school days. And I wrote it, sent it in, and then at a certain point I showed it to Cammy. We were working on something completely different at the time, which fell apart. And she said, well, what else have you got? And I said, there is this.
I'd like to point out that Mike used to be a teacher at this point, and then he wrote this.
When you be a teacher, all of your nightmares for the rest of your life have
Yeah, so then we got together and we all talked through what became the film, and while we were still trying to get together to make it, Mike also turned it into a best-selling novel because like he had a bit of time on his hands and just bashed that out, so that was good. Yeah. Which helped actually getting it made, so that was good.
It was absolutely incredible because I was working on both versions of the story side by side, and they were both sort of ricocheting off each other in really sort of productive and exciting ways. And Cammy kept saying to me, I want to manage your expectations, this is never going to happen to you again. I've been saying that to me ever since.
I said we'd never get into Midnight Madness.
And here we are.
And the way that I found about it was, for those of you who probably don't know, the sales company which helped put this together, they also brought us Big Game. Okay? And so after we filmed this when I was at Cannes last year, they were like, just wait, Girl with All the Gifts, just wait, it's going to be really good. And several other people, including Lizzie Frankie as well, was like, Colin, this is going to be great for you. And then I just kind of like disappeared from my head, didn't think about it because I was focusing on last year's TIFF. And then I read the book and was amazed by it. And then I put it all together like, wait a minute, this is what they were talking about last year. And so I was really adamant on seeing it because, I mean, if you guys were able to capture how great the book was, then it would be a shoo-in for Midnight Madness. So, congratulations. Now, the thing that I want to talk to you about is the casting, because there was kind of some reverse choices because the teacher in the book is black and the student is Caucasian, so you kind of flipped it there. It was interesting because there was an online, someone was like, oh, I just read that they whitewashed this book. I'm like, you don't know.
But it's not the whitest movie ever made. But I mean, what actually happened is, I think in the script, it's fair to say, I've not read the book, so I was going to wait until we finished the film. But what actually happened? Sorry, you gave me a signed copy last week. I feel really bad. But what actually happened was in the script, the only character who actually had a race originally was in the first draft. It mentioned Melanie's very pale skin. And I said, I just think it'd be really good to have. We talked about it and was like, let's actually have no mention of any race and encourage the casting team to bring people of every possible ethnic diversity in for all the parts. And we pushed them quite hard to do that and to have strong contenders for all the roles. And so that's what we did. And we cast according to the best actors for the part, and I think we've went up to quite a diverse film. Okay, moving on.
And then locations at the end, kind of the overgrown London, like where was that all shot?
Well, we looked at a lot of different international locations where we got into kind of ruin porn, and we'd all sit around and look at all these kind of like urban exploration books and stuff. The main kind of vista shots are a combination of photographic elements from London, factories in Birmingham where we shot stuff and kind of derelict locations, and then Pripyat, which is the town of Chernobyl, So we sent a drone unit. I mean, I didn't go. We sent a drone unit to Pripyat, and they filmed. Seb Barker, who's still fine, the visual effects. Yeah, we sent him to Pripyat, and so it's a combination of all of those things. And the idea with the visual effects was always to try and do stuff that was photographically real, rather than doing like, I mean, I quite like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but that wasn't the aesthetic that we were striving for. We were trying to do something that felt more naturalistic and was kind of pretty in a kind of child's eye view of something kind of like threatening being kind of fairy tale-ish. Does that make sense?
Do we have any questions from the audience here? Don't be shy. Yes, yell it out.
This is a really faithful adaptation in a lot of ways, but I was wondering if you guys could speak to some of the changes you did make and why you chose to make them.
The adaptation is really faithful, but there are some changes, such as the Marauders are not in this.
The Junkers, yeah, and that was something that Colin said quite early on, that if you put the Junkers in here, this is like survivalists, refuseniks who stay outside the beacon and just live in the wild and what they can catch and keep. And Colin said, yeah, we've seen them before in films like Mad Max, and although the Mad Max movies are very cool, it sets up false expectations for the story that we were trying to tell. The other crucial difference, I think, is that the novel has lots of different points of view. And we made the decision very early that we, for the movie, to stay with Melanie throughout, because it was her story and it stands or falls by her. So she came on screen for...
Yeah, there's one scene in there which she is technically in, but we don't have the bit of her being in, because the scene between Justin and Parks when they're drinking, we pull back, and eventually we did originally pan around and find her listening, but we kind of, anyway, we folded them together a bit in the edit.
Yeah, I think it's because the novels and movies work differently. It's very easy in the novels to catch the interiority of multiple characters and to keep that sort of ricocheting and jumping around. And in a movie, I think it works differently and it has a different result, different end product. But do you have any other differences in mind?
Miss Justin and the Sergeant in the book, there's quite a different relationship
They
do.
I actually regret the bit where the scene where Justin and Parks have sex. I think it was, in some ways, it was like playing to something really predictable. I prefer this version. I also prefer this version of the relationship between Justin and Colville, which kind of grew through the different drafts, didn't it? The sense of them as sort of like equals, and the sort of begrudging respect that Colville gives Justin, in spite of the fact that they're coming at everything from completely different perspectives.
It's fair to say we talked about the Bechdel test a fair bit, like early on, and just figuring out how that worked in terms of the relationships within the characters. So it felt like it would be interesting to do something that wasn't a romantic relationship between it. Although what the actors were thinking, you'd have to ask them.
And the relationship between Parks and Melanie is much more important than the relationship between Parks and Justin, I guess.
And it's the only relationship in the original short story. There's no Justino, there's no Caldwell, it's just Parks and Melanie in the original short story.
There is a sympathetic teacher, but she has a much smaller role. Yeah.
And the biggest love story in it is the love story between Justino and Melanie, not anyone else, and also not diluting that.
Anyone else here? Where? Yeah. Child labor question. How did you wrangle that?
Yeah, it was difficult. Okay, it was difficult because we first of all we obeyed the law to the letter.
Yes, we did.
But that's quite important. I'm not saying that just as a joke, but like also you can have 5.5 hours performance time with a child on screen in the UK, and you can have 9.5 hours at the workplace. And so there was another little girl who was actually in the film at the end, Mia, who's the last girl that Melanie kind of pulls the rope off and gets her to sit down at the very end. Because it was important she had a bit actually in the screen. She's on screen a fair bit, but just the back of her head in a wig. So we yeah, so she was like the double, because we couldn't make our way through a shoot with this kid and everything. But we had a really good first assistant director who also kind of helped figure us find a way through that, even when things were difficult.
Of course, all the kids had to be chaperoned on location the whole time. So it was mostly parents who did that, but say you and me ahead.
I thought you were going to say it was mainly parents who had to be chaperoned.
It's true, too.
That's true.
And how do you direct them? I mean, the scene where you first have a reveal, the scene where you first have the reveal where they're all like snapping. Like,
yeah, so we actually did quite a lot of workshopping with the kids. I like to think that the thing that I'm happiest about the film is actually the experience that the two groups of kids who became the classroom kids and the feral kids had in the process of making the film, because that was just like an awesome thing to do for a bunch of people's lives, because they fucking loved it. And so we would have these workshops where they would be down either end of the corridors, and we've got a slightly tribal thing with each other. And the feral kids, I mean, they did a lot of like sort of picking each other's noses and lying about and slapping feet and just learning to be kind of, you know, break down the space so that they're like, you know, like that's a bit uncomfortable, isn't it? A little, I know it's not, you know, and so for kids like of that age, it's like 10 times that. So figuring a way to help them break that down. And we worked with a movement director and figured out like about kind of more animalistic movement and stuff. And so that was, you know, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, they had a brilliant time. And the snapping action, teaching that, I mean, the little girl who everyone thinks is a boy at the front, who's the one that goes first when parks, because they all have shaved heads, they all look like boys, because that's what we do to kids. But they grow their hair so they grow. But when he does the thing and she goes at him for the first time, she was like just the best of the kids at biting. So that's why she sits in that place in the classroom. She's really good at it, yeah.
But the kids and their families are still in touch. They meet up quite regularly. A lot of them were sort of cast.
It's not a support group, it's like friendly.
Any more questions here? Yes, in the jean jacket.
Hi, great movie. I'm just wondering how you got Glenn Close's involvement in this. Do you like sell it like, because she loves like boiling bunnies and skinning dogs. Did you tell her that there would be animals dying in this too? Which was
She was just like, are there any animals dying? No, well, we sent her the script and she read it and she liked it, and you know, so it was. We managed to get like there was a little bit of a buzz going. Some people had read it and liked it, and yeah, we were really lucky. We were like, yeah, we could try her, you know, because she's awesome. But yeah, we were just lucky.
She said afterwards that she just made the decision when she was only 10 pages in, which is very cool.
Wow. Couldn't be arsed reading the rest.
So she didn't know that we don't get bunnies in it.
All right, the green shirt and then the person behind the green shirt, in order. Yeah. Any comments on the soundtrack?
Did you like it? So it was made by a guy who has become a Canadian. That's an actual fact, yeah. So he's Cristobal Tapia de Veer, who did the music for a British show called Utopia. Yeah. And we talked about ritual and children and story, and we talked about, I think the best thing to storytell about the soundtrack is presenting the last track with the end title music.
That was amazing. So we were doing post-production in Berlin, and Christo was in Montreal, and we'd Skype with him, and he would do a little show for us. So he'd play the song, and we'd obviously have picture for the film, and he'd also put his cat on a velvet red pillow and make it fly to the music. And then we'd see some sort of African puppet appear, and it was a witch that was playing the drums. And it was the Christo show, and it was amazing.
And Playboy ears, yeah, Playboy ears. He's got a big beard, it was ridiculous.
And there's a question, yes, behind the green hoodie. Yeah.
Yes, that's a proper fanboy question, fangirl question. That's like awesome. You got that. Well, the farming is like They don't farm because they need raw protein. They live off protein, live protein. But there's some debate amongst members of the cast, like Gemma, about whether they grow food for Miss Justino in the glass box at the end, because otherwise she might be a bit screwed. But interestingly enough, the reason that Beacon went down, oh, do this? Yeah, okay. The reason that Beacon went down, we reckon, is Gallagher was in charge of the carrot farming at Beacon prior to his departure to the base where the hotel, Echo, where the kids go down. And his departure led to the great carrot blight at Beacon, which led to eyesight deficiency due to lack of vitamin D. Couldn't shoot the hungries, and that's, yeah. So, he kind of really fucked that up as well.
And one last question here, yes.
I think Melanie is one of the greatest movie monsters ever, and she's very, she was scaring me at the end of the movie. Was that the point, to make it kind of feel like a Hannibal Lecter smile at the end, because she had a sinister...
I mean, is she a monster or is she a savior?
Well, that's the question, hopefully. I mean, I love her even at the end, and she, you know, I think, yeah, she's scary, but you have to make your mind up about that. That's your job. Like, every film is a collaboration between filmmakers and an audience.
One of the inspirations for her was the creature in Frankenstein, who is both a monster and an innocent. And only becomes a monster because of the way he's treated by his creator.
All right, put your hands together. Thank you very much. Thank you. And keep your eyes out on the screen because there's a certain promotion going on for Sadako versus Kayako. If you see a clump of hair on the sidewalk, maybe take a picture and tweet about it. And also, there's an industry thing we did today. You can find it on, most likely, the TIFF Facebook page. I did a masterclass performance with Mark Corbin, the composer of The Witch. And so they've got that video on there if you want to see more things about scary music. And we'll see you for Autopsy of Jane Doe tomorrow night. Thank you so much.